Is it possible to hit with more power and more consistency? Jack Draper has made a meteoric rise over the past year, climbing all the way to world number 4. And there's one shot in his game that's made the biggest impact, his return of serve. And so in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down Jack's return of serve and explaining why it's one of the best returns in the game today, as well as giving you some valuable tips that you can take into your own game. Let's get into it. Now, I had the pleasure of watching Jack train at the French Open this year. And during the hour that I spent watching him, he spent the majority of the session working on his serve and return. But what really stood out was when he was hitting his returns, he was truly ripping the felt off of the ball. According to the ATP Tour stats at time of filming this video, Jack's return is the second best return in the world, only behind Jannik Sinner. And to break that down even further, I've got some data that compares his return of serve in 2024 to his return of serve now in 2025. First, he's increased the speed of his first serve returns from 66 miles per hour to 72 miles per hour. And he's also increased the speed of his second serve returns from 76 to 80 miles per hour. Now, although those jumps in speed don't sound too crazy, what is crazy is the fact that he's actually making more returns than he was when he was hitting the ball slower. He's actually landing 12% more first serve returns in play and 7% more on second serves. You might be thinking, how? Well, it comes down to the amount of spin he's putting on the ball. His serve this year is 302 revolutions per minute more than it was last year when returning first serves. And what's even more impressive is on second serve returns, he's ripping the ball 518 revolutions per minute more than he was last year. Now, you probably know that normally when hitting with more spin, it actually slows the ball down. And generally balls that have more pace have slightly less spin. Well, Jack has managed to add both speed and spin to his shots, allowing his returns to not only be more consistent, but also more damaging. Which leads me on to talk about how he's actually done this and what you can take into your own return of serves. The first thing that allows him to add both speed and spin to his returns is he's actually standing further back than he did last year to buy himself more time. Last year, his average return position was 3 meters 56 behind the baseline. This year, he's shifted back even further to be on average 3 meters 97. And that extra 40 centimeters gives him an extra split second more time on each ball. What this means for Jack is not only does he have more time to react, but he also has more time to execute a slightly bigger swing, allowing him to get more power. But what that extra split second also gives him is more time to steepen his swing path, imparting more spin onto the ball. Now, this advice alone isn't for everybody. It's really important to put it into context for your tennis, as I see tons of club players not really knowing the best place to stand when returning serve. If you think about Jack's court position last year where he was stood slightly closer to the baseline, the benefit of that is he can take his opponent's time away. The downside is he has less time for his own return. By pushing his position slightly further back, although it's giving his opponent a little bit more time on the next ball, because Jack's able to take a bigger swing and really rip at it, he's taking his opponent's time away in that way. And for Jack, that means he's able to hit a cleaner, heavier ball. And so for you in your tennis, really think about the way that you like to return. If you like to take a big swing at it, then it might be worth standing slightly further back. Whereas if you're more of a touch and feel player, you might prefer standing closer to the baseline to take your opponent's time away. This way you don't have to take big swings at the ball, you can use their pace against them. But my main tip is to experiment. Mix your court position up and see what suits you best. But bear in mind that the opponent at the other end plays a big part in it. It might be worth standing further back when you're playing bigger servers and standing tighter to the baseline against weaker servers. The second tip to consider is where to aim your return to. The interesting thing is Jack's return position on first serves didn't change between 2024 and 2025. He was hitting 55% of all of his first serve returns into the middle third of the court. But what he did adjust was his second serve return placement. In 2024, he was hitting a lot more returns into his opponent's forehand side of the court and into the center. Whereas in 2025, he's got a a much more even spread across the court, meaning that he's hitting more balls into his opponent's backhand corner than he was before. Not only does this have the obvious benefit of targeting your opponent's weaker side, but also it keeps them guessing as you're hitting with more variety. And so when returning first serves, use the middle third as your target. Not only is this going to be safer, but it's also going to limit the amount of angles your opponent has at the other end. Whereas when you get the chance to take on a second serve, try to target the backhand a little bit more and hit with more variety. The final thing that you can take from Jack's return of serve is how well he uses his legs. And a cue that I'd like to give to you is that you should try to use your legs more than you use your arms on the return of serve. By really loading and engaging your legs, it's going to give you a lot more efficient power using bigger muscle groups rather than just your arm. That power is also going to be more controlled because the bulk of the power is being generated by your bigger muscle groups, i.e. your legs and your torso. That leaves your arms to control the racket. As well as using your legs to load for power, they can also help you to generate more topspin if that is what you're looking for on your return of serve. You can really see Jack drive his legs up through contact, allowing him to steepen that swing path. And if you're not sitting further back behind the baseline like Jack and you want to take the ball a little bit earlier, you can use your legs to get yourself into a better position to take the ball early. And so to summarize those 3 tips, number 1, think about your court position behind the baseline. Whether you want to sit further back to take a big swing to rip at the ball, or if you want to step forwards to use your opponent's pace against them. Experiment with both and see what works best for you. The second is to consider where you're aiming to. First serves, you should try and aim more through the center. Second serves, you can start to explore using the corners of the court. And number 3 is to make sure that you're using your legs more than you're using your arms when hitting your return of serve. Anyway, that's a slightly different video format to what I normally post, as now I've got access to some ATP Tour footage, which I'm pumped about. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this format, as I'll probably make more of them. And a big thanks to Tennis Insights and Tennis Viz for providing me with all of this data. Thanks as always for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Take care.